Hi, this is Subbu Shankaran. So, in this video, we are going to have a look at the difference between the cyber civil law and the cyber criminal law. Usually, for the CISSP, we discuss about the cyber law, I mean, civil law and the criminal law. But usually, we don't focus on we don't focus on the cyber crime, okay? Because cyber and the criminal and the civil law is also applicable for the physical crime. Okay, but the CISSP is information security professional. So we need to focus more on the cyber crime. Okay. Now the cyber civil law. Okay, the branch that disputes between the private parties. Okay, so there are two parties involved in the civil law or the civil case. In case of a crime, then the government is also involved. The government is going to file the case against the accused. Okay, or what do you say? The guy who has actually committed the crime. Okay, and in case of a civil, okay, so there are two parties who are actually involved. Okay. Now, the primary aim is to provide the compensation in case of the civil cases, but in case of a criminal law, there is actually a prosecution that is done by the government. So, and in the criminal case, okay, the impacted party is actually the complete society. So the government actually starts, filing the case, okay, a lawsuit against the suspect. Okay, what we can actually say until they are proven guilty. Okay, in the civil case, there are two parties actually involved, the private parties, and it could lead to a compensation. Whereas in the criminal cases, there could be a prosecution, imprisonments, etc. Now, the legal proceeding, filing of the case. In the civil case, the aggrieved party, the impacted party, initiates the lawsuit. Okay, in case of criminal law, the government actually charges against the accused. Okay, that is actually the difference. Because the crime is conducted against the society, the government takes the in charge and they file the charges against the suspect. Okay. Now, there's something called the burden of proof in the cyber law, or the law basically. Burden of proof in the civil law is preponderance of the evidence. That means that more weightage is given to the evidences to prove somebody guilty. But in case of criminal law, okay, it's beyond the reasonable doubt. We need to establish the fact to actually accuse somebody directly. Okay, in case of a civil, okay, it is not the case. But in case of criminal, okay, we need to pinpoint it to the individual because the punishment is more severe in case of a criminal case. Okay, but practically we see a lot of different things. But as per the theory, the preponderance of the evidence means that there's a weightage that should be given. There's a likelihood, more likely that this entity or this individual has created the crime or created a problem. Okay, not a crime because we are speaking about the civil, created something, okay, which is going to cause a damage or loss to another entity. But in case of criminal cases, beyond reasonable doubt, we need to establish the facts. Okay, we discussed about the real evidence, direct evidence, etc., to ensure that we establish the cyber crime and we take the suspect, okay, to the trial and prove them guilty. Okay, so this is what it is. So outcomes and penalties, the civil law typically results in monetary compensation, okay, or specific performance to rectify the harm caused. Sometimes we see that okay, there's an out-of-court settlement where the compensation is given by the defendant. Okay, the guy who actually files the case is actually called the plaintiff, and defendant is a guy is like against whom the case is actually filed. Okay, so defendant and the plaintiff might actually do something called as an out-of-the-court settlement. Okay, but that is something which is between themselves. Okay, it doesn't come under the law. Okay, law in the sense like there's an agreement anyway, but all the legal proceedings, everything cease to exist there. Okay, well, in the criminal law, however, it can lead to an imprisonment, fines, or community service aimed at punishing the offender. Okay, deterring the future offenses. Okay, so that's where the compensation is, but the criminal law, okay, the penalties and the outcomes could be much more severe as compared to the civil law. Now, in case the judgment for the civil trial, okay, is not being followed by the defendant, okay, then it might lead to what is actually called as a contempt of the court. Okay, then it might lead to the defendant paying the penalty of the court. Now, these are the few examples of the criminal cases. Hacking. Okay, so we all know what hacking is. Okay, finding the vulnerability on a website and trying to exploit the vulnerability and stealing the personal data or money. Okay, anything that is sensitive. Okay, is actually called the hacking. Phishing is a social engineering attack where the hacker sends an unsolicited email with a malicious link, which is used by the victim to click on it, and then you can collect the data, collect the credit card details, etc. Identity theft is an impersonation attack. Okay, so in fact, a lot of cases that happen in the world where the personally identifiable information have been stolen and it's used for the identity theft. Okay, in many cases, the victim receives an email with a registration link to open a free bank account or win a free credit card, win a raffle. Okay, so you give all your details. Okay, it's been misused for the identity. Okay, it's called identity theft. Ransomware attack. Okay, we all know that. Okay, it's based on the asymmetric key encryption, the private key and public key, or we don't say private key and public key here. Okay, we say key A and key B. Okay, one of the keys is used for the encryption. Okay, by the hacker. The other key for the decryption is held by the hacker until the ransom is actually paid. We have a normal ransomware, double extortion, triple extortion, or quadruple extortion ransomware attacks. Okay, that exist in the world. And we anyway have a separate video on this channel for all these different types of ransomware. Malware distribution. Okay, there's also a criminal case, malware. Okay, in fact, malicious software is malware. In fact, the ransomware is also a type of the malware. It's a part of the malware. We have got Trojans, we have got keyloggers, we have got adware, we have got spyware, okay, we have got worm. Okay, all this malicious software, including the ransomware, comes under the malware. So distributing the malware, okay, is also a crime. Okay, so DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack, aimed at getting down the target system. Okay, it could be if it's only one entity involved in attacking, it's actually called as a denial of service. There are multiple entities, we call that as a distributed denial of service. That's what the DDoS is. Anything that is public with a public IP is prone for the DDoS attack. Anything in the private IP is also prone for the insider DDoS attack. Okay. Now let me tell you something. Okay, there are a lot of places where I have conducted the advanced penetration testing training, and we used to demonstrate using a HPing 3. Okay, a beautiful tool as a part of the Kali Linux, which you can do a reflected DDoS attack as well. You can spoof your source IP, you can randomize the destination IP, all those things you can actually do. When you teach somebody, okay, unfortunately, the first target they try all these commands are, okay, is one of the internal system. Okay, I know a lot of places where they have targeted the internal system, and the network is flooded with the bogus packets, and there's a network performance degradation. Okay, so DDoS is much dangerous. Okay, in fact, as a part of the attacks. Okay, so the availability DDoS is the major one that's going to contribute to it. Okay, and everything is a DDoS. Okay, the moment it contributes to an incident and the hacker is involved, that becomes an availability issue. Cyber espionage is spying. Okay, so trying to find out details about the others, then pass it on to the adversary is a cyber espionage. Online fraud. Okay, we have got credit card fraud, debit card frauds, yes, investment scams. Everything is an online fraud. Okay, there's also cybercrime, software piracy. Okay, stealing the scholars and shoplifting the software, stealing the software, okay, and not buying it legitimately and using some other key. Okay, install it in some other place. Okay, so it's actually called as a software piracy. We're using the software, licensed software without paying for the license is actually piracy. And crypto jacking, unauthorized use of somebody else's computer to mine the cryptocurrency is actually called as a crypto jacking. Okay. Now, this is not the complete list, but all these things are popular attacks and that confined to what is called the criminal cases. Now, coming on to the cyber civil case. Cyber torts, wrongful acts committed online. This includes the cyber harassment, targeting an individual and threatening using abusive messages. Okay, it's actually cyber harassment. Cyber defamation, spreading of false information about the individual. Okay, which is actually called as cyber defamation. In fact, defamation suit is a popular one that is there on the in the school of law. Okay, when you tarnish the image of somebody or use false information to cause a reputational damage against an individual, they actually file what is called as a defamation suit. Domain name disputes. Okay, so typo squatting is one of the attacks. Okay, that is there for the domain name. In fact, I can use a very popular looking company's name and add one more alphabet into it to cause a confusion. For example, Microsoft.com. Okay, MICROSOFT. MIICROSOFT. Okay, it is actually called as typo squatting. There's a very popular case between Satyam Infoway and SIFI Net Solutions. Satyam Infoway had SIFI.com, SIFY.com, and SIFI Net Solution had siffy.com. Okay. Now, or siffy.net or siffy.com. I don't remember the exact the domain name, but the thing is, the problem is not the net or a com, but it's on the SIFY or SIFFY. Okay, so it was a very popular trial that actually went on in the Bangalore Court of Law. Then it was appealed to the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so this is a very popular case. You can read a lot about it. I will also put in a separate video on the case between the Satyam and Fowey and SIFInet solution. This is a domain name dispute. Okay, this also comes under the civil case. Data privacy violation. Okay, ideally you said now you're not supposed to share the personal details without the consent. Okay, and you have done it. Okay, in fact, there's a dispute whether it's going to be a civil or it's going to be a criminal one. So GDPR is a very popular, and CCPA is a very popular standard that is going to touch upon the data protection. And India is marching fast towards the DPDPA, and Saudi has already gone ahead with PDPL. Okay. Now, e-commerce disputes, issues arising from online transaction, okay, sale of goods, non-delivery of the product. All these things also come under what is called as civil litigation. Okay. Online contract disputes, later agreements made over the internet. Okay, this also comes under the civil case. Email bombing. Okay, so large volumes of email. Okay, it's like a spamming. Okay, spamming, email bombing. Okay, whaling. Okay, all these things comes under what is actually called as a civil litigation. Okay, these are the examples of cyber civil cases. So join us for your winning CISSP session with extreme clarity, extreme focus, very elaborate, not restricted to the number of days of training. Okay, I'll give you 10 to 12 sets of practice examinations online. Win your CISSP the first time you go for the examination. The Subramaniam Shankaran, mail me at subramaniam@itplus.org.uk. Stay connected, stay secured, and stay subscribed to this channel. Cheers. Bye bye.